It's me. So this video is all about building the new micro Dammit with elevons and rudder. The lights are not standard, by the way. I'll tell you about that later. Anyway, let's crack on with building the full size Dammit S. So the first thing we've done is the lower cap strip, and the spar is added. Please note there are more notches on top. That's for the intermediate ribs, and we've got the notches, you'll note, are in the correct orientation. So I located, cleaned up, sanded, not that it really requires a lot, and identified where all the ribs go in their locations. Now I'm going to fit all the ribs to the spar. That's just the main ribs, not the interstitial ribs at the moment. So I have glued all of the whole length ribs in place. You'll notice that they're pinned at the trailing edges, and I've just used two little steel rulers just to give a little bit of extra weight, but I've not gone mad. Right, trailing edge, bottom trailing edge now added, both sides. Little top tip, don't glue the runner down the end here because we've got a fillet to go in here. Right, so I've got my leading edges and I've got my interstitial ribs, remembering that these slightly smaller interstitial ribs go inboard because they're there because we've got some sheeting that's going to go on top. My advice with this, I would glue these all in place with PVA and very quickly get your leading edge and put your leading edge up into place. So that's going to make sure that everything locks together. Little test also, just get your leading edge and just make sure that it fits before we actually there we go, that fits perfectly anyway. Little top tip also, I would stick a little pin just here flush with that rib, because your fuselage is going to go in here, and that's going to stop you having to sand this. It's not so bad sanding this one, but it's going to be better to sand this at the where the fuselage goes. So just put that little there as a stop. Then added the top cap strip. First thing you have to do is we're going to we need the wingtip, which is this. I've cleaned and sanded it up, and you're going to need these two, and you'll notice that one's got a short slot and one's got a long slot. So the idea is, if you think of in reverse, the short slot pitched up right aerodynamically is going to pop into here like so, and then the long one fits into the short groove or short channel like so. And the only thing you will have to do is you've just got to cut this angle so it fits butted onto the end rib, so it just needs sanding. So all I've done is I've used my sanding block, and I just ran the ruler over the top, made a sort of a little mark with a pencil, And then all I've done is I've just sanded mine to shape like so, and then that is now ready to fit on. But that's what you're looking for. Just make sure you get the orientation of the top surface is curved, so you get the aerodynamic shape right. Don't get it round the wrong way. But that's one tip, ready to get glued on. Right, having successfully glued our wing tips on, stand by. Now what we've got to do is, when we're adding to the trailing edge, so we don't put the trailing edge, the top part of the trailing edge down, what we've got to do is we've got to infill between. So in your kit you'll get a little pack of the strips that are cut to the right length that will drop in between the ribs. You might have to just give it a little bit of a sand if you've got a little tiny little bit of drift, but don't worry about that. So I'm now just going to join these. So these are now going to get dropped into here. They go all the way along here. So I'm then going to drop these in, and then I'm going to glue them with PVA, or this, I'm using the TB2 from Angel Wing Designs. I'm going to drop these all in place, and then literally straight away just put the trailing edge on. Just have a test fit first of this before you actually start applying your glue, so make sure that it doesn't need any little bit of sanding. I doubt it with these kits. I never have an issue with these kits. So that's the next step, is we're going to infill all the way and to the middle section, in the center section there, right out, and then this is going to sit on top like so. Wingtips and trailing edge infills have been done. I've just left the weight with the ruler on to make sure that everything sets nice and square. Also, you'll notice I put a little bit of packing underneath here. That's just to make sure that the bottom bit glues nicely to the tip. Okay, I have added the centre infill. Now yours will be a pucker one. Obviously mine didn't come in the kit because this is a prototype development kit, and there's also one in the front as well. So the next thing we're going to do is I am going to now start doing the sheeting. I'm going to start from the top and then slowly work forward and then work back, and I'll show you as we go along. So while I've got my sheeting of the leading edges of the Dammit going off, I'm now going to go on to the fuselage. It's a very basic standard fuselage. What I think I'll do is I'll just drop some pictures of the stages as I go through. It's very quick, and what I will do is I will talk you through. If I come up against anything that you need to be aware of, then I'll stop and talk you through it. But I'm just going to run you through a series of pictures. So what you want to do is get all your bits out, identify them, give them a sand, and that's going to be your best friend. I've just added the magnet holders. Don't fit it flush to the spar or this former. Come in 2mm, then you'll be able to use the whole facility of the nuts, magnets. Otherwise, you push too back, then magnets might get covered. So I have got my basic fuzz done, and that went incredibly well and incredibly easy. And actually, I think it was about 3 licks of this down one side, and the whole thing just dropped into the wings. Beautiful. Now we have to talk about the next stage. Now I should have mentioned possibly, and it's obviously this is an error on my part because this is a development model. You don't, the trailing edge, this bit here underneath doesn't need enclosing because obviously the fuzz is going to fit in there, so I managed to remove mine quite easily. But what we need to do is we're going to need to do, these two lads are going together like this and will be fitted onto here like so, and then we've got these two, and the idea is we have to cut this off. Let me show you. We have to cut this off square, and then these get added. And the reason that they're being cut off is that what we're actually hoping to do is to add just a little bit of reflex in the tips and in that midsection. And when I've got it all set up and gluing, I'll show you what I've done. Yeah. Right, okay, let me show you. So that's pinned in place. Let me show you just how it's all held together. So I've got a weight here holding this trailing edge down, and just for a bit of security I have actually wedged just a little bit of balsa underneath here to hold the angle, and then obviously done the same to the other side, and then this is all going to get sanded down to a nice thin shape to suit with the elevons anyway. So there you go. Right, I've got my trailing edge elevon wingtips and the center section gluing. I'm now, all I'm going to do now is I've got my fuzz. I'm just going to add my nose block. Now I think you might find in your instructions it shows you gluing each one on. That's fine. I just decided to I've glued mine all together. I've sanded it square. Just get your orientation right of your of the nose, because there's a slight difference in it. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue that in place. Okay, so I've got my block. I've sanded her all up. One thing to note, I don't know if it'll be on the actual production one, but when I've don't mount your fuselage yet until you've covered the wing. It's just easier. But I've marked where this last rib is. There's the little hole for the servo wires to go through, and I've just marked with a pencil, so they've now come out on the side of the fuselage, because otherwise you're not going to fit your wires through. So I've mentioned that to Andy. You might find on the production one, but just make a big enough slit to be able to get your servo wire with the connector through it. So I've had a mass sand up, sanded everything. I put the obviously the bevel, the hinge, the 45-degree angle on one side of the elevons on the underneath of mine, and I've sanded up all my fin. So now I'm going to cover mine. I'm going to cover the wings, and now I'm going to cover the fuselage. What I am going to do is I'm just going to make a little mark where the wing joins the fuselage, and I'm just going to do my covering just inside of that. And then obviously then I'm going to glue it in place. It's just easier to cover it like this and then add it afterwards. So I'll get back to you when I've done my covering. You could, if you wanted to, install all your servos now and then cover over, but I'll be honest with you, I'm going to cover mine. I've got a little bit of trick electronics to show you that's going on in this particular plane. It's nothing to do with the kit, it's just a bit of fun I'm going to show you. But I'm just going to put panels in afterwards on mine, and I'll get back to you when she's covered. Okay, so I have covered my Dammit, and what I wanted to show you, something new and exciting for Major Wing Designs. They're now doing their own range of these are 5-gram metal geared servos. So I'm going to be installing 3 of those, because we've got 2 for the elevons and a rudder. Yep, so this one's micro Dammit is going to be having a rudder as well. So I'm just going to, I mean, most of you, if you've got to this level of building this, you'll know all about the installing. I'm going to be just gluing those in. I'm going to use some hot glue. Little top tip, obviously get your servos out, get the arms on, put the screws on, get it centered. Make sure that your gear is all centered before you actually install the servos. And then I'll get back to you when I've got everything set up, because I think that's just literally, we're virtually there now. It's me. Right, there you go. One Dammit S. I don't know if it's the Mark II or not, but definitely it's got a lot of extra features. One extra feature is obviously the lights are not standard. That's just a bit of fun. Before I go on to the other specifications, if I can just talk about the lights. Some people will be saying, oh, different colours, flashing. I live at the seaside. The idea of having flashing coloured lights flying over cliff sites, not a good idea. Taking a bit of a risk just having these lights as is. So the other fantastic thing which Andy's added to this one is she's got a rudder. So I've got elevation controls and we've got a rudder. She runs in at 198 grams. I'm using the new servos from Angel Wing Designs, which are 5 gram metal gear. They're a cracking price. I think they're $6.99, $7.99. If you go on the website, check that out. But for all the Angel Wing Designs, literally it is the perfect servo to get. So it's a good idea, because I think Andy's going to try and do it as a package. So this bad boy is ready to go. I've got the standard battery that is in the kit. So that's the 400 milliamp hour 6 volt. I think it's a AAA type affair. And so the next thing is, you might not see me on the slope. You might just see some lights flying past. Anyway, one micro Dammit ready for the slopes. I'll see you soon.